The last topic that we'll be covering for this week is division. So division means sharing between a number of groups, and we use the table and chair method to divide. The things you need to remember about division is that we do 3 or 4 digit numbers divided by a 1-digit number. In other grades, you start dividing by 2-digit numbers, which is a bit more complicated. So we stick with easy 1-digit numbers. The bigger number goes under the table, and this number is called the dividend. So because it's a bigger number, it gets a bigger name. And the smaller number goes on the invisible chair. This number is called the divisor. So a smaller number gets a smaller word. I'm going to remind you about the steps for division. So step number 1, we put the big number under the table. Step number 2, we place the small number on the left of the table. We call this number the chair. Step 3, you're going to imagine that you are eating a 3-course or 4-course meal when you are dividing. So you're going to push your chair in for the first course. If the divisor, so the small number, if the small number is too big to fit into the dividend, so the first course, then you're going to put a dot, a 0, or leave it blank. But you're only going to do this for the first number. If this is the case, you're going to carry the first course number over to the next place value column. You cannot just forget it never existed. But if this is not the case and the divisor fits perfectly, then you're going to put your answer on top, and then you're going to move on to the second course. If your divisor fits in, but it has a remainder, so it doesn't fit in perfectly, then you're going to put your answer on the top of the table, and you're going to carry over the remainder to the next place value column. Right, step 4, you're going to continue this until you reach the units column eventually. So if you are dividing a 3-digit number, then you're going to do this 2 more times. But if you're dividing a 4-digit number, you're going to do this 3 more times. Step 5, if there is still a remainder in the units column, so you've gone all the way to the units column and there's still a remainder, then you're going to write your remainder at the top of the table. This is going to be in your answer. Let's practice an example of the table and chair method. So we're going to divide the following numbers using the table and chair method. We've got 1,637 divided by 3. We're going to set up our table, and we're going to have the big number underneath, which is 1,637, and we're going to have our small number sitting on the invisible chair. So 3 is going to go on the chair, and 1,637 is going to go underneath. So we're going to pretend that you are sitting at a 4-course meal, because you've got 4 digits there, and that you're going to scooch in each time to eat the next course. So you are the 3 sitting on the invisible chair, and we're going to count our 3 times tables. So scooch in your chair for your first course. We're going to try and get to 1. So count your 3 times tables, and if you pass 1, you're going to stop. 3, you've already passed it. So 3 cannot go into 1. So you're going to put a dot, a 0, or you're going to leave it blank. I'm going to put a 0, and I'm going to carry my 1 over to the right, which is the next place value column. That number is now going to become 16. So scooch in your chair for your second course. Count your 3 times tables until you get to 16. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18 is too big. So 3 goes into 16 5 times, remainder 1. So carry your 1 over to the next place value column. That number now becomes 13. Scoot your chair in for your third course. Count your 3 times tables until you get to 13. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. 15 is too big. So 3 goes into 13 4 times, remainder 1. Carry your 1 over to the next place value column. That number now becomes 17. Count your 3 times tables until you get to 17 and scoot your chair in for your last course. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. 18 is too big. So 3 goes into 17 5 times, remainder 2. Because we're now at the end, we can't carry our remainder over anymore. So we're going to write it at the top, remainder 2. You can write R2 or you can write REM2. I don't mind. So your answer here is 545. Right, boys and girls, you're going to divide the following numbers using the table and chair method. That's the method that we've just practiced. Please write this in your workbook. So write today's date, and you're going to write the heading Division Practice. Underline the date and heading for me, skip a line, and then you're going to work out the following calculations. We start off nice and easy with 192 divided by 3. Then we've got 5,472 divided by 6. And then we've got 5,238 divided by 7. So please pause this video so that you know what the calculations are. And once you're finished, you can play the video again and get the answers. So I hope you can do this really well, and please shout if there's something that I can help you with. So email me if you really don't understand. Okay. Set up the table and chair method, small number as the chair and the big number as your meal underneath. So scoot your chair in for the first one. 3 cannot go into 1, so put a dot, a 0, or leave it blank. I'm putting a 0, and carry your 1 over to the next place value column. That number becomes 19. Scoot your chair in for your second course. 3 goes into 19, 6 times, remainder 1. That number becomes 12. 3 goes into 12 perfectly, 4 times, no remainders. The next one, set up your table. Small number as the chair, big number under the table. So we've now got a 4-digit number divided by a 1-digit number. Scoot your chair in for your first course. 6 goes into 5, can't go. So put a dot, a 0, or leave it blank, and carry your 5 over to your next place value column. That number now becomes 54. 6 goes into 54 9 times, no remainders. So scoot your chair in for your third course. 6 goes into 7 once, remainder 1. That number now becomes 12. Scoot your chair in for your last course. 6 goes into 12 twice, no remainders. Last one, set up your table, your chair, and your meal underneath. Scoot in your chair for your first course. 6 cannot go into 5. So put a dot, a 0, or leave it blank. Carry your 5 over to the next place value column, and that number now becomes 52. Scoot your chair in for your second course. 6 goes into 52 8 times, remainder 4. That number becomes 43. Scoot your chair in for your third course. 6 goes into 43 7 times, remainder 1. Scoot, and that number now becomes 18. Scoot your chair in for your last course. 6 goes into 18 perfectly 3 times. I hope you did really well.